At Kearney Mesa. The temperatures at this hour are starting to improve in Del Mar, 70 degrees, 82 in Kearney Mesa. We're going to take a look back to see whether or not we broke or tied records today. We should have the latest update at 4:30, but coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll have your 7-day forecast.
All right, thanks, Angelica. And as Angelica said, it's been a hot day, causing many people to go to the beach. But in Encinitas, one woman got stuck on a cliff trying to get to the shore. It started around 10 this morning near West J Street and 3rd. Authorities say that woman had climbed over a fence to go down the cliff, despite signs advising people not to. She was rescued a little more than 2 hours later. Firefighters say she wasn't hurt. It's still possible union grocery workers could go on strike. Today, workers across the Southern California region continued to cast their votes on whether or not to strike. The union has not been able to agree on a new contract with several big chains, including Ralph's and Albertsons. Better pay is one of the main things workers are fighting for. The vice president of operations for Ralph's says they'll continue to do everything they can to balance investment in wages and the well-being of their employees. The union will get the outcome of that vote Sunday night. Local gas prices are nearing the $6 mark. Today, the average price increased just over 2 cents to a record $5.94 a gallon, according to AAA. During the nearly month-long streak, the average price has risen more than $1. San Diego County has a new interim sheriff. He takes on the job after a state audit revealed an unusually high number of inmate deaths in local jails. Coming up, why the Board of Supervisors say he's the right person to serve in this position.
I just want to serve and make the community strong for the next 9 months.
That is San Diego's new interim sheriff. Today, the county supervisors elected Anthony Ray. He's currently the #2 person in the department, and he'll serve until a new sheriff is elected. ABC 10 News reporter Jeff Lasky reveals the challenges he plans to tackle in his brief time on the job.
Congratulations, Mr. Ray. Welcome to Sheriff Roll.
With those words Tuesday, the San Diego County Board of Supervisors appointed a new interim sheriff, Anthony Ray. ABC 10 News spoke with him just a few minutes later.
Obviously, I was very happy to get the job. That's why I'm here right now, but there's some apprehension. There's an awful lot of work to be done.
Ray knows he's going to be filling in during a time in which the department is making a big transition. Longtime Sheriff Bill Gore retired in February, just before a scathing state audit revealed significant problems in San Diego's jails, including an unusually high number of inmate deaths.
I think the audit was fair. I mean, the audit revealed some issues that needed to be repaired, and we totally embraced the results of the audit, and we're going to work on those.
Ray thinks his experience will help him work on those issues. He's been with the San Diego Sheriff's Department for 30 years, rising to the rank of assistant sheriff. He felt he was in the best position to effect the needed changes while keeping things running smoothly until the next election.
I'm running 2 of our 5 bureaus right now, so I felt if someone was going to be picked for an interim, I was probably best seated understanding the operations of what we're doing in the department and our community contacts to continue moving this with no fall off. I mean, the department needs a leader.
The Board of Supervisors seem to agree, making Ray a unanimous choice out of 3 finalists. After the vote, I asked Board Chair Nathan Fletcher what stood out.
He had clearly dug deeply into the state audit and the recommendations that have been given around improving the situation in our jails, and he knows that. And he had a lot of support in the community. Members of the NAACP and other folks spoke passionately about his engagement and understanding of the community.
Voters will pick a new sheriff in November. They'll take over the job in January. Ray chose not to run and told us he plans to retire.
This will be the last job I hopefully ever have in my life. I'm 61, I have grandchildren coming now, and my wife and I have plans for the future.
If Ray passes his background check, he'll be sworn in next month. Jeff Lasky, ABC 10 News.
Under Sheriff Kelly Martinez will continue running the department until Ray takes over. Martinez is one of the candidates running for the job in November. Critics of the Sheriff's Department say it should no longer oversee county jails. Today, activists spoke out, including family members of inmates who have died in local jails. They want the state attorney general to appoint someone else to oversee all jails. This comes after a state audit last month found 185 in-custody deaths between 2006 and 2020.
We believe that the interim should be the office of Attorney General Rob Bonta, and to enforce some of these reforms so that we can save lives.
Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says splitting jails from the Sheriff's Department would require a court order and could take years. He says the board's focus is on getting the auditor's recommendations implemented as quickly as possible. Multiple devastating tornadoes tearing through Texas, causing widespread destruction and multiple injuries. At least 19 tornadoes have been reported so far and 1 death. The twisters have gone through parking lots, highways, and neighborhoods. One toppled a high school gym, causing the roof to collapse on the indoor basketball court.
I don't have a roof on my own house, so, but, my kids are safe, my husband's safe, and, all the students at JISD are safe, so that's what's important.
Texas's governor has announced a disaster declaration to help counties in the state recover. This storm system is now moving into Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama.
This 10 News Pinpoint Weather Report is sponsored by Anderson Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Nobody wows clients like we do.
ABC 10 News meteorologist Angelica Campos joining us now with a look at our forecast. A lot of really terrible things happening in that area of the country right now.
Typically spring season is the start of severe weather season. It is just devastating to see those images, especially with the threat continuing today, and it's still going to be pretty high. And then another day tomorrow. Thankfully, by the end of the week, conditions will be improving in the southeast. Here in San Diego, the skies are clear, 71 degrees. The winds are coming out of the northwest at 6 miles per hour. We're also going to be seeing some wind due to Santa Ana conditions, and temperatures could be close to records through at least Saturday. It'll be just in different parts of the county. Some of the hottest days for our mountains and deserts will be later in the week, and for coastal communities it'll be today and tomorrow. As we look ahead into next week, more fog will be developing, or clouds will actually be returning, with the potential for some foggy conditions starting Friday night into the weekend, and that will be the beginning of the cooling or the cool down that we'll see around the county. In the meantime, it's all about heating up for the next several days. A wind advisory, another one, has been issued. It'll start at midnight until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Includes our mountains all the way into the valleys, very similar to the one that was issued last night at midnight as well. The winds right now averaging 15 miles per hour, so it's not too windy just yet. Again, those winds will be picking up. Looking at our wind futurecast, it'll average close to 30 miles per hour in some parts of the county, like Mount Laguna and Palomar Mountain, right around into the evening hours. And then those winds get stronger as we go into tomorrow, potentially gusting up to 55 miles per hour. A lot of the models are staying very conservative, between 30-36. If that is the case, of course, that would be really good news. We're still in the low 80s in Poway. The heat will continue for the next several days, with the hottest days for inland communities through Friday. Along the coast, low 80s Wednesday, Thursday. We start to see that cooling process beginning on Friday, and it'll be more pronounced over the weekend ahead of a storm system arriving early next week. Most likely the chance for rain will be for Monday and Tuesday, and the timing may continue to change. It's typical when storms are so far out, and depending on the setup that we'll see around the county, but for now we're going to keep it for Monday and Tuesday. Inland communities will be near 90 degrees through Friday, cooling down Saturday and becoming more comfortable on Sunday. Mountains will be in the mid 70s Thursday. Hottest day will be on Friday, and our deserts could possibly get very close to 100 degrees before the end of the week. Thankfully, the warming is only for the rest of this week, and then next week looks a little bit better, Lindsay.
All right, there's some relief in sight. Thank you, Angelica. And we'll be right back with more of ABC 10 News at 4.
Skycam Views, sponsored by Carlsbad Solar.
Low lake levels aren't just expected to affect people in one area of the country. The 2 largest reservoirs in the United States are reaching dangerously low levels. That threatens the drinking water supply for millions of Americans and the millions of pounds of fresh food grown in the region. Bo Evans shows us when these effects will hit your family.
From Southern California to Phoenix, Las Vegas, survive on this water.
Danny Woods is worried about water, specifically the water levels in Lake Powell. It's his livelihood. He runs a kayak tour company in Page, Arizona, with his business partner, Michael Collins.
This is the main source of water for millions and millions of people.
Lake Powell and Lake Mead are the 2 largest reservoirs in the U.S. Both are a part of the Colorado River Basin, which supplies water for nearly 40 million people in the Southwest.
Too much water distributed, too little coming into the system, and you can guess what happens. The rivers dry up, the reservoirs dry up, and both the environment and people are in a heap of trouble.
Bob Adler has been studying the Colorado River for decades. He says one of the biggest issues with the water supply is how it's divided between states.
The fundamental problem is that the Colorado River Compact that came out of those negotiations allocated too much water. It allocated 16.5 to 17.5 million acre feet of water, but over the course of the 20th century, the average flows were about 15 million acre feet.
And it's not just the drinking supply. Water from the river system is used to water millions of acres of farmland. Those farms and ranches are responsible for nearly 15% of the country's crop and livestock. Lakes in nearly every state in the country are experiencing lower than average lake levels. 3 out of every 4 states in the country are experiencing drought or near drought conditions, including what scientists have referred to as a mega drought.
It's unprecedented in terms of the recorded history.
Dan McAvoy is a climatologist with the Desert Research Institute. He says even if we're having a good winter of precipitation, other issues may prevent dams from refilling.
Last year, there was 80 to 90% of average snowpack in the upper Colorado River, and Lake Powell got less than 50% of average runoff.
He says because of rising temperatures, runoff from snowpack is all being absorbed by dry soil, and it's not making it to the river basin and reservoirs.
We could meet agricultural needs by switching to more water-efficient crops, by using more efficient irrigation systems, by valuing water as highly as it ought to be.
Right now, it's estimated that agriculture uses 80% of the water from the river basin. The hope is reduction in use could help refill the reservoirs. I'm Bo Evans reporting.
All right, Bo, thank you. Now, the cost of owning a pet is going up. You may be feeling that pinch yourself, but we have where you can save money on pet care items right now, and why experts say you should plan ahead.
So to come, the first of the month could bring what some call an eviction tsunami. Coming up, the plea from renters to extend eviction protections before the deadline expires.
You're watching ABC 10 News at 4.
Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson faced a tough day of questioning on Capitol Hill today. This marked day 2 of her historic confirmation hearings. And joining us now live to discuss what played out is Hannah Brenner Johnson. She's the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs and Professor of Law at Cal Western. Thanks so much for being with us, Hannah.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So first question, we saw a wide range of questions that Judge Jackson faced, from her record as a public defender to her faith to critical race theory. Overall, how do you think she handled all those questions today?
I think she did an incredible job. She was asked some pretty tough questions on a wide range of topics. She held her composure and she answered to the best of her ability. It can be really difficult as a prospective judicial nominee because you're constrained about what you can say. It would be inappropriate for anybody who is being considered for a position on the nation's high court to opine about how they would rule. And so the conversation, has guardrails in terms of what somebody can talk about.
What major takeaways did you get from today's round of questioning?
Well, it's really interesting to think about today's questioning against the backdrop of other nominees who have been considered for the high court. Keep in mind that it was not until 1981, when Sandra Day O'Connor was going through this same ordeal, it was the first time that these hearings were televised. And so I think that the dynamics take on a little bit of a different bent when they are, broadcast to the world. Lots of topics. There wasn't really a laser focus on one thing. Back when Sandra Day O'Connor was being considered for the court, abortion was the hot button issue that dominated the entire confirmation hearings. Today, there was a lot of ground that was covered.
So you've done a lot of research and really chronicled how different women are treated during this process as opposed to men. I guess what kind of insight can you offer as to what you've seen so far? I mean, this is only day 2, but how would you say this stacks up to other recent questioning that we've seen?
So far, I would say that there hasn't been any explicit, gender bias like that which we have seen in the past. I think most recently to Justice Barrett's confirmation hearings when she was questioned about who did the laundry in her home. Perhaps a question that came from the disbelief that a woman could balance both being a mother of 7 children as well as a professional jurist. So far, the hearings really seem to have focused on the issues and on her record as a judge and as a lawyer.
Hannah, the Democrats so far have praised Jackson, while many Republicans have tried to portray her as weak on crime. She defended herself on that front. What are Republicans trying to accomplish with this line of questioning, you think?
Well, the confirmation hearings today are so full of partisanship and political divide, and I think that it seems pretty likely that Judge Jackson will in fact be confirmed. But certainly the Republican senators are thinking politically about the midterm elections, and they want to show their constituents, if nothing else, that they are concerned about these issues that matter back in their home states.
All right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your insight, Professor Hannah Brunner-Johnson from Cal Western, for your time this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
An eviction tsunami. It's what some tenants' rights groups are saying could happen come April 1st. That's when statewide COVID-19 related protections expire. New at 4, some renters shared their stories today as they pleaded with state lawmakers and the governor to approve an extension. Janice Dixon is a Los Angeles area renter hit hard by the pandemic. She's applied for state COVID-19 related rental assistance, but like so many others, her application is still pending.
Give the system a chance to catch up so that people like me don't fall through the cracks.
According to a report from National Equity Atlas, more than half of applicants, about 271,000 households, are still waiting for their application to be reviewed. Pending applications could become a major issue come April 1st. That's when state legal protections end. Last October, the state COVID eviction moratorium ended. But if renters had applied for assistance, they were protected through March of this year.
I'm very concerned about this eviction tsunami and the displacement of our residents, and I want to do everything in my power to help.
That's Escondido City Council member Consuelo Martinez. She was on a Zoom call this morning bringing together other elected officials, tenants advocates, and renters. The group talking about all the effects evictions can have on families, especially children.
We're talking about hundreds of thousands of children potentially losing their homes. And we're talking about policy decisions that can affect children for the rest of their lives.
They're calling on California lawmakers to extend the legal protections until at least August of this year.
Ending these programs right now that offer rent relief and protect workers from evictions is irresponsible and it's unethical.
Again, state protections for renters related to COVID-19 are set to expire April 1st. If you have questions about eviction or other landlord-tenant related issues, you can contact the Legal Aid Society of San Diego. A faulty refrigerator is to blame for a fire at a Little Italy pizzeria. That's according to the San Diego Fire Department. That fire broke out around 4 a.m. at Landini's Pizzeria on India Street. Heavy smoke poured out of the building as firefighters arrived. It didn't spread to other buildings and no one was hurt. The fire caused about $250,000 worth of damage. A new proposal aims to end California's sanctuary state law. Here's an in-depth look. That bill making California a so-called sanctuary state was signed into law by former Governor Jerry Brown in 2017. It limits on how state and local law enforcement agencies can cooperate with federal immigration authorities. It also means law enforcement cannot ask someone about their immigration status and is forbidden from holding undocumented immigrants until they can be transferred into federal custody. Assemblymember Kevin Kiley has proposed ending the law, saying in the past it has allowed criminals to stay in the U.S.
You've had many examples of folks who were in custody and who could have been removed from this country after having committed criminal acts, but this sanctuary state law impeded the ability of law enforcement to communicate with the immigration authorities.
But supporters of the law say a vast majority of undocumented immigrants aren't committing crimes, and it's important to respect their right to be in California, and that the law helps prohibit people from being discriminated against. Local immigrant advocate Pedro Rios says if the law is repealed, undocumented immigrants may get separated from their families.
We could potentially see many more transgressions taking place, people's rights being violated, people being targeted simply by the color of their skin.
Kiley's bill will head to a committee before being heard before the full assembly. With a Democratic majority in the legislature, the bill may have trouble getting to Governor Newsom's desk. And as California continues to endure a third year of statewide drought, cities across San Diego County are looking for alternative options to water sources. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Coronel shows us how the city of Oceanside plans to boost its water supply.
This process has taken 2 years, and now the Pure Water Oceanside facility is officially open. This is where the process starts to begin the recycling process. At this facility, recycled water is purified to create drinkable water. This is done in 3 steps: filtration, reverse osmosis, and advanced oxidation.
Once it leaves the facility, it goes through a series of pipelines and is injected into the groundwater, where it will reside for about 5 to 6 months. And then we'll pull it back out of the ground, treat it again before delivering it to our customers.
Right now, majority of the water in Oceanside comes from an underground aquifer, but the drought has had an impact on that water supply. So researchers, scientists, and the city have come up with an alternative water source, which involves recycling potted water. This water reuse project is the first in its kind in the county, but other cities are working on their own alternatives. The city of San Diego was using water purification technology to clean recycled water, as is the East County Advanced Water Purification Project, which also looks to purify recycled water.
So developing supplies that are local, like this one here, is really important. It ensures that we have resiliency, it ensures we have reliable supplies, and we're really using something that would otherwise be thrown away. It would be discharged out into the ocean.
Because of the pandemic, the tours of this facility were being held virtually, but now they're ready to allow the public back in, where you can also get a sample of the water. Reporting from Oceanside, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Many of us have a lot of love for our pets, but let's face it, in many ways they don't come cheap. And as many of us head back to the office, pets are getting more expensive. A new survey out today from Rover finds 60% of pet owners are making new purchases on anxiety remedies for their pets, things like calming treats and separation anxiety training. Almost 1 in 3 say they've taken on additional services for their pet while at work, like daycare or hiring a dog walker.
Dogs are really part of the family. And as part of the family, we're thinking about expenses associated with our dogs less as discretionary budget and more as part of our mandatory family budget planning.
Look at how much you're spending. Are you, paying for maybe a more luxurious grooming service that you don't need? Could you do something a little bit more basic to save? Are you looking for the deals and coupons for those pet care items?
So to cut costs, she says almost anything that you can order online or buy in advance will save you money. For in-person shopping, places like Costco, TJ Maxx, and HomeGoods often carry brand name pet supplies for less. Signing up for automatic deliveries on food and treats can also cut costs, but if you don't plan it out the right way, you could end up spending more.
Because if there's any gap, you're going to find yourself running out to the local convenience store or local pet store, and that's where you're going to pay more. So any savings that you get from those auto shipments are going to essentially be void.
But what if you want to become a pet owner? If you're considering bringing home a new dog, you need to factor in the upfront costs. Rover says 40% of new pet owners thought that the upfront cost would be less than $500. And in reality, they say, yes, look at your screen, the range from $1,000 up to $4,000.
So as people are considering their budgets and adopting a new pet, they're going to want to think about the breed and the size of dog so that they can find a pet that's going to suit their lifestyle and their budget.
Rover found that smaller, short-haired breeds cost on average $100 a month, while bigger breeds with more hair cost double that. All right, the construction industry is booming right now, but the truth is men in that industry far outnumber women.
I get questioned about once a week if I'm the homeowner, and I, with a smile, tell them, no, I'm the builder.
Why she says that now may be the easiest time ever for women to get their foot in the door. The nursing shortage is hitting hospitals, and now would-be nurses across the country say some states are behind in processing nursing licenses. As Jesse Cohen reports, it's making job candidates worried that they won't be able to fill jobs even if they're offered a position.
Nearly 3 million. That's how many registered nurses we have in this country. But many of them, like Christopher Batelli, did not get there easily.
No one likes feeling like a number, and it made me feel like such a number. I counted it up, and as of February 18th, which is when I last checked, I had called them 77 times.
This table is... He's talking about the dozens and dozens of phone calls he's had to make to get his license this month. He's been calling since November of last year, knowing he'd need his license for a future job.
Every single week when I spoke to someone, I would get completely different information. So I finally got a hold of someone and I said, I'm still waiting on my authorization to test. I'm coming down to this deadline here. Is there any chance I'm going to get my license in time? And, you know, just to kind of put it in context, March 15th would have been 16 weeks from the day I sent in my application.
After years of schooling and much debt, he got offered a job at Stanford.
I'm on an oncology floor, which is kind of my area I wanted to work in. It's kind of a dream job for me. And when Stanford said, if you can't get your license by the 15th, you can't work, you forfeit this position, I became very upset.
He knows just how prominent the nursing shortage is nationwide, which made these delays that much more shocking.